Do you know that it is estimated that 40% of women over the age of 60 is affected by female pattern hair loss? And a recent study found that the psychosocial well being of women is negatively impacted when they are having that type of hair loss. So, as we get older, it's natural for our hormone levels to change, and sometimes it can lead to hair loss. While both men and women don't want it to happen, women tend to be more devastated because our culture reinforces that our hair and beauty are synonymous. Some folks will try to blow it off and say that having hair is really not, or not having hair isn't really a big deal because there are more serious ailments to deal with, or that it's common that men deal with it. Now, at the end of the day, they say it's just hair. But anyone who has that attitude hasn't been around women in hair loss support groups, in salon settings, or in doctors' offices. Many who are suffering want to know if anything can be done about it. And I am here with the Voices of Trichology, and they are here to let us know. My name is Dr. Crystal Porter. I'm a hair scientist and owner of Main Insights, a company that conducts research and focuses on the hair needs of people from African descent. This platform is designed to elevate the Black hair care industry and empower consumers and hair professionals with education that talks about scientific research and matters that pertain to our unique needs and culture. I appreciate you joining us on today's chat. Now, before I bring on the Voices of Trichology, I would love to see who is out there with me this morning. Let me know who you are and where you're from by putting it in the chat. Also, you can put the number one if you are a practitioner, put the number two if you are a consumer, and then put the number three if you are a researcher or a scientist. And then I would also love for you to like and share this broadcast. Now, if you are frustrated with the lack of information available when it comes to caring for your hair, and you've wasted a lot of money, time, and resources trying to figure things out on your own, then you are definitely in the right place. And that is why we have the Our Black Hair Matters movement. Now, if you haven't checked it out already, I have some resources on my hair assets page. And there it is, links.maininsights.com/info. And basically, you can get information. There are templates that you can use to write to the powers that be, meaning some of the companies that provide us with products to make sure that they are doing testing on our hair, and also to make sure that they have data to back up what it is they are selling to us and what they're claiming to do. We also have hair themed children's books. We have the biggest mistakes that curlies make. So there are a lot of other things that you can get your hands on if you go to that particular page. Also, if you want to schedule a complimentary consultation, the link is there as well. Now, I may have had some people join a little late, so let me reset a little bit. My name is Dr. Crystal Porter, and this is the Our Black Hair Matters Lunchtime Chat. And today, the Voices of Trichology are here with me today to share their expertise and experiences. And today's topic is about hormones and your hair health. So, welcome, ladies. Let's bring them all on. Thanks for being here.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for having us.
Of course. So, I want to tell everyone a little bit about you. So, I want to start off by reading the bios. So, Dana is a certified trichologist, Sister Locks educator, empowerment coach, certified bio research assistant, a certified co-capper, a veteran, author, and more importantly, a mother of a son on the autism spectrum. She is the director and CEO of Hair Cares Inc. that provide in-person and virtual hair growth services, Sister Locks business consulting, and personal coaching. Then we have Miss Marvelette Bailey. She is a veteran in the industry with over 30 years of experience, excuse me, backed with in-depth training, licensure, and certifications. Marvelette continued her education and training in the paramedical and science fields, becoming a trichology healthcare practitioner and biomedical research assistant. And then we have Donisha Sullivan, who is a certified trichologist with over 18 years of service, providing hair loss prevention and restoration for men and women who suffer from alopecia. Donisha is licensed in the states of Georgia and North Carolina as a master cosmetologist. She currently owns the Hair and Scalp Treatment Center in Augusta, Georgia, and she also provides non surgical hair replacement services. So glad to have you on, especially talking about this sensitive subject, because in full transparency, I am menopausal or postmenopausal. So I have had the quote unquote change. And I know that there are some interesting things that the body goes through when we are in that phase of our life. So, would love to talk to you guys about it. So, can you, first of all, just share exactly what is hormonal hair loss in the first place?
Hormonal hair loss is basically when you have an imbalance of hormones, either the levels are too high or too low, and it makes everything out of whack, pretty much.
Mhm.
Okay. And so, are there like different things that go on in the body specifically that we should be aware of?
Yes, so things from hair shedding, fatigue, weight gain, weight loss, loss of sleep, appetite change. There's a number of things that can go on in your body.
Mood change. It's another one.
Yeah, so hormones just really play a huge role when it comes to everything, our development,
Yes.
bodily functions. I mean, it is, it's almost, well, it can be arguable which one is like the master system of the body, but they all really interact with one another, and it's the endocrine system that is in charge of hormones. So, are there other things that you can think of that can impact how your hormones are going to, well, what changes hormones in general?
Medications.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, definitely medication.
Pregnancy.
I would also say diet as well, like everything, right? It's all about the diet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stress, stress,
Mm-hmm.
stress, and some more stress.
Have have you mentioned age? I don't know if I heard, you may have said it.
No, we didn't say age, but age is absolutely enough. Genetics, aging, stress, medical conditions, and different certain medications as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And
And did
certain
I say
autoimmune disorders.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah. Wait. I wanted the most obvious thing to come up. I was like, did you say age?
Yeah, age is definitely a factor. I mean, which obviously goes into the menopause piece, right? Because age has something to do with that. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I'm sure you guys have stories. I know you have stories. I would love for you to share some of the stories of what made you aware even before you started trichology. I'm sure that there were some things that you were noticing that I'm sure some of our listeners and watchers would benefit from. So do you have any stories that you can share about an experience that either you or your clients had?
I can speak specifically to pregnancy. So before becoming a trichologist, I noticed that when my clients were pregnant, they either it was one extreme or the other. Either the hair was falling out, specifically around the hairline, or the hair was growing really, 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 really fast, and it had all to do with those hormones being all over the place.
Mm,
But in most cases, it was a temporary situation. It wasn't a permanent hair loss, meaning that once they had the baby and their bodies get back in balance, or the hormones get back in balance, then the hair would grow back or either go back to its normal pace of growth. So that was my first encounter with really just kind of connecting the dots with hormones and hair health.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can use myself for an example. Being pregnant with my son in particular, my hair was super thick and super, super long. And it stayed that way for about 3 years. And then it just, I don't know, went back to whatever. And then fast forward to be going into premenopause. I was walking to the car one day. You know, you can see your image in a car. I could see straight through my hair in the front. So that was when I decided I was going natural. So I noticed my hair was thinning. So as a result of menopause.
Mm. You know, a lot of people complain about hair becoming thinner after they have the child. I have to say, I did not notice. I did notice my hair thicker with my first pregnancy, but I think I was so stressed out with having a baby and trying to juggle grad school. I could care less about my hair, but a lot of people do complain. But I didn't notice, but I think it does vary from person to person. So, Donisha, do you have any experiences with maybe with one client you saw a big difference and maybe with another, maybe not?
I did, and I'm going to touch on something a little different than pregnancy. It was thyroid. So I had a client that had hypothyroidism, but I didn't identify it at the time. I just know. So she had been coming in, getting her hair styled and getting services, um, and it started shedding a lot. So she started having a lot of shedding. Then she would have the hair got really dry, really brittle. It wouldn't hold a style. And so, we went through the process of trying to figure out, okay, is it something in your diet? Is it something different with medication? And after troubleshooting for a while, we found out that she had hypothyroidism. And so that affected her hair in a major, major way. And it wasn't until that disorder got under control and she was under her doctor's care that we were able to get her hair back to a healthier state. But during that ordeal, I mean, it thinned out a lot and she had a lot of breakage.
Mm, okay.
Mhm.
Now, are there different like names of the alopecia? We always talk about hair loss and alopecia, but
Mhm.
is there like a particular name for this diagnosis? How are you diagnosed with alopecia that is caused by changes in the hormones?
Mhm.
The, from my experience, the most common one they were diagnosed with was alopecia areata.
As a hormonal
Um, in
alopecia?
some cases, maybe it triggered something because I know that's more of autoimmune, but or it's telogen effluvium because it's thinning, but that's the common one as well.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
for me, as telogen
So
effluvium is definitely one of those alopecias directly associated with hormones because your stress, it could be your stress level is just so high. In particular, your cortisone level is very, very, very high. And typically, it's a temporary hair loss because you experience that. Say, for instance, you experience a death in the family or a surgery or something, and your hormones are out of whack. You could lose your hair suddenly, and then it can eventually come back.
Hmm.
Yeah.
yeah.
So a client in
And in
particular
a
is
lot of
what
cases,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Julie.
I was just going to add, in a lot of cases, it's important to get that blood work done
Mhm.
because what may appear to be one type of hair loss could actually be more so hormone based. For instance, androgenetic alopecia. I don't have my paper that tells us the study that was done, but in that article, it was speaking on how dermatologists are listing female pattern thinning as the type of hair loss and not androgenetic because of how it presents itself. Looks like AGA, but it's different because it's directly related to a different type of hormone, which would be cortisol. So I just wanted to add that it's important to get the blood work because the blood work can actually show the underlying issue, and the way it presents itself on the scalp could resemble another type of hair loss.
Mhm.
And to add to what Donisha was saying, you can have multiple types of hair loss going on at the same time for different reasons, or one may trigger another. So that's where the alopecia areata came to play as my previous response, because I have a client who has what is it, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and so she was diagnosed with alopecia areata, and also there was some telogen effluvium, but she has a extreme amount of hair loss. And so
Mm.
she had a lot of other issues going on, which probably triggered other things. And she did get all her hair back, but then she had some life altering things go on, and she has to start all over again because she lost her hair again.
Mm. You know, I'm glad you raised that point, Donisha, about the paper, and I don't have it in front of me either, but I do know which one you're talking about. But they used to lump androgenetic alopecia for male pattern baldness and female pattern hair loss as well. And what they have found is that there are some other biochemical reactions going on that can make them in their own pot. So they're not necessarily under the same, or they can be put under the same umbrella, but you have to differentiate the differences. You have to differentiate the two because there are two different
Mhm.
biochemical mechanisms that are at play. So, yep. Now, I did not
Yep.
take the time. I told you guys to put your name in the chat, and I did not acknowledge those who did. So we have Margaret, love seeing you from Atlanta. And then we have Tamisha Hicks Jackson in Jacksonville, Florida. Then we have someone who comes up as Facebook user. I apologize, but you're in Portland, Oregon. And then we have Nadia. Thanks for joining. Alyssa, Dr. Alyssa is here, and she's in Cincinnati, Ohio. And then Fushi, thank you for coming. Now we have someone with a comment. The story about hypothyroidism mirrors mine. So, however, even though my thyroid levels are normal, my hair never went back to what it was. Ooh. Is that common? Do you hear that story a lot?
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah, all nodding.
So
Yeah.
I think that a lot of it too is once it's being diagnosed or identified as the problem. I think that in a lot of cases it has gone on for so long, and those follicles are affected for a prolonged amount of time, and so the
Mhm.
amount of hair that would normally grow from that follicle is just not able to perform the way it used to, and so the hair is just not as strong or not as full as it would be if it was caught earlier on. That's what I've
Mhm.
seen. I've seen it's just been a long period of time, and those follicles are affected.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then I also noticed that the curl pattern could be different as well. So not so much. You also have to look at the curl pattern and see if it has elongated itself where it doesn't look as full. And what I mean by that, if you had a really nice tight curl, right, and then you had issues going on with your body, and even though your hormones are back within normal levels, the curl has may have elongated itself, so it really exacerbates the look of it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think the body is amazing. So hearing that is amazing.
Mhm.
Wow. Now we have another comment. It says, what would the type of blood work? So I think they're asking what blood work is needed to determine if it's androgenetic hair loss.
Well, it's a combination. I would just go get a full workup, right? Like I would be checking hormones, vitamin levels, mineral levels, all the whole workup. Honestly, there's no one particular thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of dermatologists too. I think androgenetic alopecia is one of those alopecias where they can have a visit and it can be diagnosed quite easily. But if there are other compounding factors going on, then I can see where there would be a need for blood work as well.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then Joy has joined us from LinkedIn, so thank you.
Mhm.
All right. So my next question has to do with well, you already talked about blood work in terms of tools to identify hormonal imbalances.
Mhm.
And I know as research goes on, they're finding even more ways that you can look at biomarkers to see what's going on. And man, technology really is making things more sensitive for us to detect changes. And so I know with blood work, a lot of times the cortisol levels,
Yeah.
which is, a hormone, can be detected. But are there other things that can be detected that you know of?
So estrogen levels, obviously with menopause,
Yep.
testosterone is another
Hmm.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we often hear about DHT. Can someone give us information about that androgen?
So that's a hormone similar to
Yeah.
testosterone, but much more um, detrimental. I'm trying to pick the proper word. And what it does is it attacks the hair follicle and causes it to shrink. It suffocates it out. And then eventually, if you don't do anything about it in time, it suffocates it and make it small until it's gone. So it kind of,
Hmm.
you notice a diffuse hair loss, like you lose hair, and if it goes untreated, you could possibly not get the hair back.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. And what's interesting is more recently, there has been a debate in the scientific community as to whether DHT and an increase in DHT is really truly responsible for the hair loss. There has been people who have shown data that the DHT levels haven't changed, whereas they're able to get hair regrowth, or you could see the same levels on one person compared to another, and one has hair loss and one doesn't. So is it really DHT? So a lot of people, a lot of scientists are debating whether that really is true or not. So I think that's why it's important to have data. Now we're talking about DHT. Exactly what does that stand for?
Dihydrotestosterone.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, cool. Now, what is there any other research that has gone on that you can educate us about when it comes to, like, for example, people always talk about supplementation and, oh, can I just take a pill to make my hormones balanced? What's your take on that?
So I'll just jump in really quick. My take on just taking a pill to balance out your own hormones, I wouldn't play with that on my own, because there has to be a balance across the board for all of your hormones, not just one or another, or one specific part of your body than the other. The thing about hair health and hair growth is that the body just doesn't look at the hair as being essential tissue. And so all of the body systems have to be supported, not one versus the other. There needs to be homeostasis throughout the entire system as much as possible, in order to get good quality hair growth. So, balancing out the hormones is a matter of making sure that all the levels are within range, within optimal range, so that the hair can get the support that it needs, but then so that the organs can also get the support that they need. And it's a balance between the gut and the body and the brain and everything. So it's not just one pill to fix, a problem. Is usually a combination of things that's going to be required with the lifestyle change.
Mhm.
And that's why I think it's important to go see a professional instead of trying to self-diagnose, which you should always do research to figure out different things you can do and what it does to you. But over the counter sometimes is there's no one thing fits all. So it's best, in my opinion, to get something that's customized to your body or something customized to your specific needs. And that will produce optimal results.
Yeah.
I would like to add too, I do believe that you can, and I have seen where natural supplementation can be implemented, but first the problem has to be identified properly. You know, you can't use, everybody can't take sea moss, or everybody can't just, you know, double up on vitamin D. And it just, it really requires a good healthy balance, but you have to identify what the problem is and then go forward from there.
I agree
Mm-hmm.
100%. 100%.
Awesome. So Margaret has a question. In the cases with hypothyroid, what types of hairstyles, or it sounds like relaxer or natural, would you suggest the client to use or to have?
I would not suggest a chemical. And then as far as hairstyles, something natural, but it depends on what your hair is going through, how much hair you have left, what is the density of your hair. All those things play a part. So each individual will be a different answer for each person.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So when you say you don't believe in chemicals, you're talking about the relaxer treatment.
Right. I'm saying that's what I mean. I mean, if you're having an issue already, now let me rephrase that because that probably came off. Not that I don't believe in chemicals. Let me say that. What I'm saying is, if you're having an issue, I do not recommend that you add chemicals to the mix until you identify and get it under control. And even if it is under control, depending on what the issue is, I would probably not recommend that you get a chemical.
Mm-hmm.
Including color.
Yes. Yeah.
Color
Thank you.
is a chemical. So if you're having excessive shedding and the hair is dry and brittle, just even if you're saying, oh, I just want to color the gray, just refrain from that until the hair gets a healthy balance and gets into a healthier state to be able to receive that color, even if it's a semi or demi or whatever. Adding those products could irritate the situation, or it won't help until things get under control, is what I would like to say.
Yes.
It makes a
So
difference.
I have to bring this up because this is something that I often teach about. So this will be a repeat for you guys, but the lingo, I think, is extremely important for people to understand the difference between the lingo that a lot of hair practitioners and stylists use, such as chemicals. It's like that umbrella term for a lot of the treatments that they provide for or in their services. However, chemicals from a scientific standpoint, I'm gonna tell you water is a chemical. And so, but I understand your lingo. I just want to make sure that our viewers and our listeners know the difference between what it is you really mean when you say that. So I understand it, and I want others to make sure that they understand it too. But if you're trying to be a scientist, water and the air that you breathe is a chemical too, and it's okay.
Yeah. So to clarify then, Dr. Porter, for the viewers and the listeners, we're speaking when we're speaking of chemical, we're speaking in the sense of relaxers and permanent color and hair dyes and keratin treatments and all of those types of things. Um, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's what we're referring to.
Yep, yep. Now, you talked about hair color, and I want to talk about this because there was a study that came out. And when you said not only relaxers, but also consider if you have something going on with your thyroid to um, not do color as well. But the study came out to say that there are endocrine disruptors in a lot of the products. And they mentioned hair straighteners, even though that is inclusive of relaxers, but they couldn't say specifically relaxers. But I mean, it's a hair straightener, and they couldn't, say that it wasn't related to hair relaxing or not. But hair color was also, it was a study showing that can also, the types of molecules in there can disrupt the normal function of the endocrine system. So, any advice on that or a perspective on that?
Well, I'll just say I agree because in the salon behind the chair, um, before studying trichology, I would see that again, a client that has dry, brittle hair and it's excessively shedding. I don't want to add color to that. I don't want to put color on it because it just exasperates the situation. And that was just from um, an observation, So having that study to confirm that, I agree.
Yeah. Now, Dana, I think did you hear what I was talking about?
No, I missed it. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. I was talking about the study and the endocrine disruptors and the products, especially when it comes to women of African descent and the types of products and the amounts that we use, not only different various products, but also the volume or quantity of even one particular product. We use it in excess, meaning more than a lot of times what's recommended on the label. And so just wanted to get your perspective on how you would make a recommendation to a client for someone who uses product. And I know you guys actually said a while back that less is more.
So in most cases, the clients that come to me are natural, meaning they haven't used product in a while, meaning like I'm talking about specifically relaxers. Now, color is a different animal, but in regards to relaxers, however, for me, I'm always going to be an advocate for natural. So if they have been using some color and the hair is dry and brittle and all of that, then we need to wait before we move forward with the locking process in particular. So, yeah, but it does obviously impact the health of that hair, period. Period. And it doesn't matter what kind of lotions and potions that we put on there to camouflage it. There is some damage that's being done, particularly to the curl pattern itself. And I know I talked about that earlier. Like even if you found out that you were losing your hair and then you got your hormones back in balance, the curl may not come back the same way that it was before. So if it was very pronounced before, it may be elongated now. And chemicals do that as well over time.
All right.
I wanted to say chemicals on children that have not yet reached puberty can disrupt the hormone process as well. So I think that more people should be aware because a lot of times we do things because we don't know. So I think there needs to be more education on that for the consumer on how often you're using chemicals and then at what age, what is the right time to introduce chemicals to you. But I know that's a whole nother show.
Yeah, that's don't get me fired up about the children, please.
Yeah. So you guys have all gone through city training, so collaborative institutional training initiative, and so you can conduct or you can help to become data collectors and research assistants. And so in that training, they tell you how sensitive of a process it is or how difficult it is to get studies approved using children. And I think that is really what's lacking. So it's already a hurdle just to get Black people in particular to participate in studies, let alone their kids, right? And so for us to really understand the impact of what's going on or what could have been, it's not always good to have people reflect on what they used to do when they were a child. It's always good to actually do it in the midst and actually taking those data snapshots to know what's going on and look over, a period of time in terms of what changes and implications of different lifestyle variables. So, yeah, it's a lot to be learned, but you're absolutely right, Marvelette. We need to be very conscious of the fact that things can disrupt the normal hormonal process when you add things to your body that can disrupt the endocrine system. So, thank you for that. Yeah. So, is there anything else you would like to add about hormones and hair loss?
For me, I was joking earlier about the stress, but I really think people take that for granted. That stress really does alter the body, which obviously then can produce hair loss. We just have to breathe. You know, everybody have these busy lives and a lot of things going on. But if you're having sudden hair loss, and you're trying to figure out what happened, you might want to look at your day-to-day life and all the stress that you're dealing with, and then go get you some blood work done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we did touch on weight gain, the fluctuation in weight, thirsty, dry skin,
Mm.
all these things, brain fog can can be a telltale sign that you have some type of hormonal imbalance going on. And I think it's you should a good idea is to go see an endocrinologist or somebody specialized in hormone therapy or the hormone system to make sure you're okay or to see where your levels are and what you need to do moving forward.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that actually goes into the last segment of what to do if you suspect hair hormone or hair loss due to hormones.
Hmm.
And so let's hear that one more time, Marvelette.
I gotta remember everything I just said. Look, I
No,
might have
not
brain fog
everything.
going
I mean, what should someone do if they suspect that they have hair loss due to hormones?
on. Go see an endocrinologist.
Yep. Okay. Dana?
Get that blood work done. That's the first step to me, is going to get that blood work. Then go to someone that can actually break it down.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Okay. Donisha?
I was just gonna add, absolutely get the blood work done. You can get it with your general doctor. If not, then go to those specialists. Go to the endocrinologist. Go to the gynecologist. Go to the ones that can actually do a deeper read to help you get those levels balanced out.
Mhm. And so I want to just say that the advantage of seeing a trichologist is that they may be able to align those dots. So
Mhm.
you may be just living your life and not even noticing that you have hair loss. And the conversations that you have when you're in the company of a professional such as a knowledgeable and trusted trichologist can really make a difference when it comes to you getting the care that you want. So I definitely want to end with that. So I'd like to thank you for joining today. Always a blast. I'm sure people have taken away something and you've given food for thought so that if someone is suffering, they know the direction that they can go in. But kudos to those who actually go to trichologists who can monopolize on the expertise. So thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I just want to say,
Thank you.
in conclusion, I always have like kind of announcements. And so I do, it's April now. So that hair play date that is in Chicagoland, that is something that is going to be going on April 30th. And so I guess I need to bring up, oh, wait a minute. I never told people how to reach you guys. That's bogus. Okay, so let's actually do that first before I tell you about the hair play date. So let's go ahead and start with, we're going to go in order from the people that I see. So Marvelette, there is your contact information. Do you want to say a little bit?
I can. You can reach me at trichoscienceclinic.com. You can email me there. You can do a chat that comes directly to me. So I'll see it. I respond in a timely manner. And there, my phone number is there as well. So any way you like to contact me, you can do that by going to my website.
Awesome. I apologize about that. And now, Dana.
Yes, so you can reach me at haircaresinc.com. And on the site, you have my phone number, set up a consult or email as well. So haircaresinc.com.
Yes. And Donisha.
And I can be reached at thehbtc.com. And from my website, you also are able to book a consultation and book a, you can get the phone number or send an email or chat. So that'll be the best way to get in contact with us.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It wasn't until I was getting ready to pull up my banner. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I didn't bring up the banner. So thank you for your patience and understanding. All right. So I am going to talk a little bit about the Chicagoland Hair Play Date. I'm really excited about it. And one of the reasons why I'm excited is because every week I have someone reach out to me and say, oh my God, the little tips that you gave. And I'm not even a professional. I'm actually going to get the person who showed me what I needed to do with my hair, to teach what you need to do with your hair. But anyway, it's a Chicagoland Hair Play Date. And it's April 30th, which is on a Sunday afternoon. And Deirdre Keller will be heading that up. And so that information about that can be found in my links page right there, links.maininsights.com/info, and you can get the information there. But I'm just always excited about the just advancements that people are making just because they know how to do something with their own hair, because there is a lack of people who know how to deal with their own hair, even between going to the stylist. Sometimes you want to just change things up. So that hair play date will allow you to get techniques and know products that would be compatible with your hair. The other thing is I'm always looking for practitioners who are using CBD-based products. Or if you want to and you don't know where to start, then let's also set up a time to chat. And I am always looking for hair. So if you know someone or you yourself, you have natural hair and you would like to cut it, I would love to buy it for research purposes. So reach out, and info can be found at that link as well. All right. So always remember that our Black hair matters. And as always, take care and love your hair. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.